goes to right. Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
Yo, what is up, guys? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. The Party on Broad podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Make sure you smash that like button. Drop a comment here during our show. We'll respond to every comment during our program. Joining me today is my man Dylan. He is the host of the Faithful Fanatics podcast and Spitballin'. Follow him on Twitter at DylanJD98. What up, Dylan?
Another chance for this Eagles team to turn the season around, Dives. Other than that, I'm not too confident, but
I see you got Reggie on. I brought out B-Doc.
Yeah.
This is my third different jersey.
Me too.
I brought B-Doc out because I need heart, and that's what the Eagles need to bring today. They need to bring the heart. They need to find their heart again. Also joining us today is my man Brian. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's going on?
Thank you for joining.
Not wearing my jersey.
We got Geekly Goods showing. Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. Geekly Goods is joining. What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining Geekly Goods. Geeklygood.com. Awesome stuff. Today, we are breaking down the key storylines, the keys to the Eagles offense, the keys to the Eagles defense. We're going to talk about the stars of the game on both sides of the ball. We're going to give our game predictions. Let's start off with keys to success for the offense. And I got to go. I'll lead us off, guys. I'm going to go stop, get your head out of your ass, and let's get a fucking W, because the biggest key to winning to this game is going back to the basics. Pound the rock. Establish the run game. Consistently get Wentz out of the pocket. Focus on the middle of the field with my man Ertz, with Dallas Goedert. Set up the play action. Get the ball down the field. Keep third down conversions light, manageable, rather than repeatedly, and third and long. The Eagles have been outscored by 28 points through 2 games this season. It is the worst differential by any NFC team. The Eagles have turned the ball over 6 times. 6 times, have 1 takeaway. Carson Wentz has 4 interceptions, a fumble loss. It's time to get back to the fundamentals. Get back to the basics. Since 2019, the Eagles are 23rd in takeaways with 21 and 26th since 2018 with 38. That's not good enough. So if there was any positive last week, it was the Eagles' run blocking. And this game is all about Miles Sanders. I am telling you guys right now, if Miles Sanders doesn't have 20 or more touches in this game, we are in big trouble this season. The Bengals' run defense was brutal in 2019. It's been just as bad as 2020. The Bengals cannot tackle to save their lives. They've allowed 4 runs of 20 or more and 4 touchdowns, which is most in the NFL. We all ripped the Eagles linebackers. We did on the Tuesday night's preview show. But, man, this guy named Jermaine Pratt, similar to Nate Gary, this guy is constantly out of position. Pratt's average tackle is 8.4 yards past the line of scrimmage. This guy is terrible in coverage. Pratt has allowed 200 yards and 82.4% completion on 17 targets. Miles Sanders on the ground, through the air. You know, if you attack the second levels of the Bengals defense, you're going to win, period. But then that's what we've been talking about these first 2 weeks again and again, is that Doug and Howie trying to outsmart everybody. And, you know, football isn't rocket science. Dominate the line of scrimmage, limit mistakes, control the tempo. The Eagles and Carson Wentz must find a way to get the offense back in rhythm. And that all starts with the offensive line and my man, Miles Sanders. Whew. Dylan, you're up. What are the keys to the Eagles' success on offense?
Fired up this morning. I love it. I love the energy. But I'm 100% on board with everything you said. Miles Sanders, the run game is the key to this game. Not just Miles Sanders, but Doug's play calling in general. Run the football. I've said it all week long. I said it Tuesday night. I said it Thursday night. The Cincinnati Bengals have allowed 185 rushing yards per game the first 2 weeks. The Cleveland Browns, I know you all watched the game last Thursday because it had one of the highest viewerships ever. I mean, in recent history, when everyone's saying numbers are down for the NFL. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt ran for like 250 yards against the Cleveland Browns. Pound the football, Doug. But I say that not just for the team. It's not just going to help the team. It's going to help your franchise quarterback today, taking the pressure off of him, moving the pocket, getting play action involved, because right now, I don't care what he says. I don't care what anyone says. It's mental with Carson Wentz. It is 100% mental. He doesn't throw 2 picks a game. He's historically, like I said the other night, he's one of the only quarterbacks in NFL history to have multiple seasons in a row of 20-plus touchdowns and 7 or less interceptions. Okay, so he's never been historically bad. Like, he fumbles the ball a lot, but he never throws a lot of interceptions. So to get back to the run game, when has Carson Wentz, when have the Eagles played their best football? On the road in Buffalo last season when everyone counted them out. On the road on Thursday night in Green Bay last season. Did you know in those 2 games Carson Wentz threw the ball, I believe, 27 times and 31 times? When the Eagles have a balanced game plan, a balanced attack, they are much more successful. Take the pressure off of Carson, roll him out of the pocket, use the play action. That'll open up things downfield because, Dobbs, you said it, this Bengals defense is, quite frankly, awful from top to bottom. They don't have Geno Atkins, so that's even more of an advantage. And just play a clean game. Don't turn the ball over. Don't give Joe Burrow a short field. Make him drive the length of the field every possession.
Amen. Amen, brother. You're up, Brian. What are the keys to the Eagles on offense this week?
It starts with, I think, Carson Wentz. His mental status really in playing this game. I think last week during one of the podcasts I mentioned that Jalen Hurts is in Carson Wentz's head. I think with the Eagles picking him, that's affecting his gameplay and pressing him to play better because he's feeling that pressure from Jalen Hurts. And after I said that, a couple of days later, Ron Jaworski said the same exact thing. He said Jalen Hurts is getting into Carson Wentz's head, allowing him to press way too much. So I do agree with you both that they do need to run the ball, get that pressure off of Carson Wentz, and maybe he can start just relaxing, start focusing on better play call as well, with Doug Peterson as well. So, but yeah, I think it starts with Carson Wentz and trying to manage this offense.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, Doug Peterson, you're going to know within the first 5 minutes exactly what offense you're going to get today. Are you going to get 5 to 7 step backs from Carson Wentz? Are they going to attack the middle of the field finally? Are they going to be able to protect Carson Wentz? Are they going to get him out of the pocket? We talked about how even diverse this offense is going to be. Where is it? It's not happening. Any other keys to the Eagles' success, Dylan?
I think the tight ends play a huge role today. Missing Jalen Reagor, Alshon Jeffrey still not back. Obviously, we don't know what version of Alshon Jeffrey we're going to get. I know some people have already given up on that ship, but with no Reagor now, your outside wide receivers consist of Djax, Sean Hightower, who played a lot week 1 against Washington, and I believe only played like 10 or 12% of the snaps last Sunday against the Rams. JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Your guy Greg Ward, and now they called up Deontay Burnett. But Dobbs, to your point, I don't understand what goes through Doug's head sometimes. Like, is it that hard to figure out that Carson is better out of the pocket? I said it to you on Tuesday night. I said it on Thursday night again. What did you see last week with the Rams and Sean McVay? You saw him maximize what Jared Goff does well and minimalize what he doesn't do well, his weaknesses. Doug Peterson does the complete opposite with his franchise quarterback. It doesn't make any sense. Like, he's supposed to, we looked at him in the past as this offensive genius and this offensive, this guru that's up there with Sean McVay play calling, Kyle Shanahan play calling.
Nah.
Where is it? Was it because I remember when Frank Reich left and, that was the conversation, right? When the offense would go stagnant, maybe the brains of the operation was Reich. And I didn't want to believe it. Well, the list is getting longer and longer to prove that point. So it was a perfect day for Doug to open up the playbook more Dude, run misdirection. Get the ball in John Hightower and Deshaun Jackson's hands in open space. Get the screen game involved with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. And it's just that simple. Pound the ball down this team's throat until they stop it multiple times. I don't mean pound the ball down their throat and then on a 1st and 10, it's a 2nd and 8, you only get 2 yards, and then go back to pass. Pound the ball till they prove they can stop it. Because I promise you, they're not going to be able to. But I'll throw this to you guys. One other thing that I think we haven't talked about and that we should look out for is we're talking about running the ball a lot. Well, what do you need for a successful run game? Your offensive line to play well, right?
Yeah.
And what do you need for Carson Wentz to play well? Your offensive line to play well. Well, now Isaac Seumalo's out. So what I heard is I think Herbig in practice moved to left guard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
And Pryor's at right guard because they don't like Pryor on the left side, I think. That could be switched today. We obviously don't know,
Okay.
But now your offensive line is an aged Jason Peters next to Nate Herbig, who actually played really well last week. Jason Kelsey, Matt Pryor, who we haven't seen this year really, and hobbled Lane Johnson.
Right. I mean, I'm personally pretty confident based on what I saw during the second half versus the Rams, especially that right side, Herbig, Lane Johnson. That is a really interesting development. I did not know that. I also like Matt Pryor in the guard spot. So it's not that bad in this matchup. In this matchup, that could totally switch moving forward. But I think the Eagles, their patchwork offensive line is going to be okay. Any other takes on the Eagles offense, Brian?
Just run the ball. Score touchdowns. Don't settle for field goals.
That's the thing, guys. Like I know we're being very bland and very obvious, run the football. But this game plan should not be too crazy today. It's not that difficult against this Bengals defense. Run the ball, play action, use your tight ends. The Bengals have no one that can cover your tight ends. You said it, Dubs. Remember Nate Gehry trying to cover Tyler Higbee last week? That should be Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert today.
Yep. The play calling has been atrocious. You Doug Peterson, get your head out of the playbook, watch the game, get a feel for the game first of all.
Read the room, Doug. Read the room.
Read how the game's progressing because this guy doesn't do that. This guy completely just has his face just so immersed in the play calling that he's not getting a feel for how the lines are playing, how Carson is playing, and what's going on the field. So you saw that with the 4th down calls. How does that look in week 3? That's a major question mark. I don't. You're right, Dylan. It's not rocket science. Run the ball, dominate the line of scrimmage, and go from there.
People are probably listening. Oh no, shit! You need to run the ball, but that's all it should be today.
Yeah.
The only other thing, Brian said, Carson Wentz is the key to this game in a lot of ways. I hope that Doug gets the ball out of his hands quickly to start and get him a couple. We heard the term layups earlier this week with the reporter and that got blown way out of proportion and Doug kind of snapped. But get him a couple layups to start the game and get his confidence up. Because if you try to play action, deep ball to Djax to open up the game and he overthrows Djax or God forbid it gets picked, the kid's confidence is going to be shot from the jump. Get him a couple quote unquote layups and then build his confidence up. You roll him out of the pocket, move the pocket, run the play action. They're not going – I know you're missing Rager. I know you don't have Alshon. They're not going to be able to cover you.
You notice when he called them layups how upset Doug Peterson got and protected his quarterback? And that's the part I'm tired of. Yes, it's okay to protect your quarterback, but you also got to blame your quarterback. You got to get that into Carson Wentz's head instead of Carson Wentz.
The issue with that is that he completely threw his franchise quarterback under the bus the day before.
Yep.
So I think that's why you saw Snappy, because he heard at the wheels starting to spin about that because he completely threw Carson under the bus.
And I think that's right. I think that was the right thing. I think Carson needs to think, you know what? Maybe I need to take a step back or stop pressing. I need to actually work hard instead of just talking the talk and not walking the walk.
There are a lot of rumors going on right now, a lot of tea leaves reading the tea leaves happening right now regarding Carson Wentz's ability to take in advice since 2017. It just isn't happening. And that's been kind of the concept, the topic of sports media around Philadelphia is that rift between Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz and what that means moving forward. But let's move on to the defense because I have a lot of keys here. I think the game's going to be decided by the Eagles defense. Let's talk top keys to the Eagles defense. For me, I've got Zach Taylor, the Bengals head coach, versus Jim Schwartz. We all know this Bengals team is garbage, but I've got bad news for you guys. Do you guys know where Zach Taylor, the head coach, came from? The Los Angeles Rams. And you know, the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay completely drew up a blueprint that Jim Schwartz had zero answer for in week 2. So I know that the Bengals have a rookie quarterback. They have lesser talent at the skill positions, but the offense is almost the same as the Bengals and the Rams. So the Bengals do not run as much motion offense at the snap as the Rams, but they run a lot of the same formations. They run a lot of the same run combinations. So there's zero doubt in my mind that we're going to see a lot of the same kind of game plan we saw from the Rams game versus the Birds today. So that's why my keys to the Eagles defense is Jim Schwartz versus Zach Taylor. We saw Joe Burrow throw the ball 61 times last Thursday night, the second most for a rookie. Joe Burrow's strength is that running those 5 wide receiver sets, empty backfield, and moving guys misdirection, play action, getting them out of the pocket. I think we're going to see a lot of that today. So everything in this game revolves around the defensive line getting pressure on the quarterback. The game could easily be decided by Jim Schwartz learning from his mistakes in week 2. We all know about the Eagles linebackers. They're complete trash. And there's just zero excuse for the Eagles defensive line not to dominate today. And I guess the bad news, the Eagles defense not getting the job done, getting to the quarterback, getting takeaways. We talked already on that. The good news, Schwartz's Eagles defense has played 6 games against rookie quarterbacks since 2016. And the rookie has had at least 2 turnovers in 3 of those starts. So there is some success, some history of success versus rookie quarterbacks for Jim Schwartz. Get the ball, Jim. That's my one takeaway. I got a couple more. What about you, Dylan?
Well, Fletcher Cox is active. I don't know if you saw that or not, but he's good to go today. Yeah, you said it. Joe Burrow, this offense, they're going to spread you out. They're going to spread you out thin. They're going to be 4 or 5 wide receiver sets, empty backfield. So that part kind of scares me. But look, Joe Mixon has gotten off to a really slow start in the first 2 weeks. They haven't been able to get a run game going. Like you said, he threw the ball 61 times against Cleveland. I think they're one-dimensional. So while they do have, I guess, a lot of weapons, I guess you could say, you still have Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and aging AJ Green, but he can still, like, against the Eagles, he'll probably go off. Tyler Boyd, John Ross, like, they have weapons spread out. But if you can't game plan for a rookie quarterback in his 3rd professional game with no offseason virtually, like no regular offseason, and he's one-dimensional, then if Jim Schwartz can't stop the Bengals offense today, he needs to be out of the building tomorrow. Yeah. But like I said, it is the most Eagle thing to have happen. Like, we know that the strength of this Eagles defense is their run defense. And we know Joe Mixon has gotten off to a slow start. But don't be surprised if Joe Mixon goes off for $120 today. No, but in all seriousness, if you stop Joe Mixon the first couple of drives, and you do make Joe Burrow one-dimensional, I think they'll be okay. I think Darius Slay gets a pick today. And Dibs, you said with the offense, like, you'll know within the first couple possessions. To me, it's the defense. You will know exactly what Eagles defense, exactly what Jim Schwartz you're getting this afternoon within the first 3 possessions. If they come out and they're getting after Joe Burrow, like Brandon Graham, I know it shouldn't take a coach like stepping up for players to want to play harder for him. But, you know, we talked all week about Doug's comments and then Jim Schwartz fell on the sword for his defense. Like, Brandon Graham came out and said they thought they were going to get their ass chewed apart in the film room, and then Jim took all the blame for his scheme and everything. And then he came out and said that makes him and that makes the guys want to play harder. So if this team doesn't come out with any fight today, then they're in trouble. To turn the Bengals over, and I said it earlier in the week, the defense is the energizer of this team. Defense is the heart of this team, in my opinion. Where's all the the personality on this team. Jalen Mills, Brandon Graham, just all across. Rodney McLeod, Darius Slay. They're the Energizer bunnies of this Eagles team. So they need to come out with that energy. No fans again. You need to get that out of your mind. Like, remember we were talking about week 1, how they said it felt like a scrimmage with having no fans in Washington. That can't happen this season, guys. It's going to be a weird season. That needs to be in the back of your mind. So look for the defense to come out hot, get after Joe Burrow, force a turnover, and just bring the energy. And if that happens, you'll see a different Carson Wentz today also. I think the offense feeds off of the defense.
All right, Brian.
Yes, I'm going to go with the opposite of you guys, and I'm going to go with the defense, but I think Nate Gary does well today.
Wow.
Yeah. Nate Gary has the most tackles through the first 2 weeks of the seasons, which is surprising. I think he has 17 tackles, and the rest have 12 or less. But yeah, so I'm going to go with him as my key player. I think he needs to step up, and this defense needs to start pressuring the QB and get some sacks. They only got 4 sacks through the first 2 weeks. And the other teams have 8 altogether, which came from the Washington game. But yeah, they need to match that number today. So 4 sacks today. Nate Gary, maybe a pick or a sack.
Now let me ask. Do you think Darius Slay follows around AJ Green, or do you think he follows around Tyler Boyd?
AJ Green. I think AJ Green's size makes that kind of a matchup issue because they also have T. Higgins on the other side versus Avonte Maddox. So that was another key point of mine. I won't touch it. But yeah, Nicole, Robbie, Coleman, or Crayvon LeBlanc versus Tyler Boyd. I think that is a major key in this game. Any thoughts on that? Should I touch on it now or should I just go into it?
Just go into it.
Just go into it. So Tyler Boyd emerged as Tyler Boyd's one of the top keys of the Eagles defense. They have to target Tyler Boyd. This guy emerged as one of the NFL's best slot receivers in 2019. He's been really solid this far. So far this season, he has 11 receptions, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. So while AJ Green has more targets, Tyler Boyd is definitely the best wide receiver on the Bengals. I think Darius Slay is going to shadow AJ Green due to his size. And, but by the way, quick, before I go into that, how damning is it that Darius Slay is playing so terrific and the Eagles defense continues to get slashed? You look at the Eagles secondary last season, they were just burnt by the big play over and over and over again. Darius Slay in week 2, he had 4 targets. He allowed 2 catches for 18 yards, 0 touchdowns, 62.5 passer rating allowed. He had 5 tackles and 1 for loss. So the good news is the Bengals offense has only 1 play of 20 yards or more. So regarding Nicole Roby-Coleman, that guy was just completely murdered. It was a crime scene last week. Trying to defend Cooper Kupp. He gave up 5 catches for 81 yards versus Cooper Kupp. So through 2 weeks, Robbie Coleman has allowed 9 completions on 9 targets, 102 yards, 8 first downs, 1 touchdown, and a passer rating of 150.9. So I think you're going to see Crayvon kind of come in here and slow down Tyler Boyd. I guess that's kind of a key storyline to watch in this game. How short of a leash is it for Nicole Roby-Coleman in week 3? LeBlanc played 3 snaps last week, but looked really strong. He has played 13 snaps through 2 weeks. But Crayvon, my boy, Strap, has not given up a reception so far this season. That's a major storyline. Tyler Boyd's legit, guys.
Yeah. My thing with the Eagles secondary is I would have a shorter leash on your boy on the outside and Avonte. I would play Crayvon LeBlanc over Avonte Maddox. I do not like Avonte Maddox. I think he is the Jalen Mills. I know some people love Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills was toast at corner. Okay. So that to me is Avonte Maddox. He's always trailing. He's always chasing someone from behind. I'm not an Avonte Maddox guy. Nicole Roby-Coleman got torched. There's no if, ends, or buts about it. There's no way around it. He got absolutely torched last Sunday, but so did the entire defense. Yep. So I think going into the season, Pro Football Focus had him and Slay as two of the top 18 corners in the league. I think that's more true than anything. To me, I am a Cravon LeBlanc fan. I would play him over Avonte Maddox. I don't know. I don't know why he doesn't see the field more. And so help me God, if I see Marcus Epps on the field for more than 25% of the snaps, I'm going to lose my mind. What is he doing on the field?
I have no idea, man. I don't. That's the problem with this season is just so fucked up. Brian, any other keys to the Eagles defense this week?
Not really keys, but you guys are gonna hate me for saying this. Instead of Avonte Maddox, I wish the Eagles had Rasul Douglas.
Okay.
Yo,
I've always liked Rasul Douglas. I always thought he was pretty consistent when he played. He's gotten beat, but I thought he always had the heart to play. He always was willing to work at what he just getting better. And I don't think the Eagles ever gave him that chance to be consistent all the time. And that's just my take on it. But I wish he was still here. I always liked him because every time he was in, I've noticed he created more turnovers. He intercepted the ball, and I just wish the Eagles had that. When was the last time we saw an interception?
I know. It's been a while. It's been a long time. We have Matt.
Yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know.
Let's go to the comments real quick. We have Matt McGinty, part of the Faithful Fanatics podcast, in my Sandra Bullock voice. Run the dang ball from the blind side. So good. Man, love that Eagles pumpkin. Thanks, Mom. We have Nathan Woolridge saying, "Sup, man? I just got here. I'm a huge, big fan of y'all guys. Thank you so much for joining, Nathan." Nathan says, "What we're talking about? We're just kind of shitting on the Eagles so far. We're talking about the top keys to the Eagles' offense and defense today. I'm gonna just kind of go into my last key of this game, and that's Drew Sample versus Nate Gary. I'm not gonna get into that Tyler Higbee versus Nate Gary situation last week. That was just a train wreck. We all saw that disaster coming, but Higbee caught as many touchdowns last Sunday as he did all last season." Oh, God. So, all right, let's go. Eagles have one of the worst red zone defenses in the NFL after 2 games. They have allowed 7 of 9 opponent trips to the red zone for touchdowns. That's not good enough. Howie Roseman discussed all offseason about adding youth and speed to the Eagles defense, yet the linebackers have had 0 chance to match up versus the speed of the Rams on the outside. And Drew Sample is a second-year tight end. He was a former second-round pick. He's had 8 catches for 52 yards this season. Going into this matchup, he wasn't the starting tight end for the Bengals in week 2, but due to injury, he actually had a really good game, 7 receptions, 45 yards on 9 targets last week during week 2. So through 2 games, the Eagles defense has already given up 4 touchdowns to the tight ends. Against Philly, Logan Thomas, we all remember that, versus the Washington football team and last week. So I expect a high amount of Drew Sample today in the passing game for the Bengals. And I have no doubt in my mind that Zach Taylor, Drew Sample, those guys will be targeting Nate Gary on defense today. Go ahead. It looks like you have something to say, Dylan.
Jalen Hurts is active. Again, Nate Sudfeld is out.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go. More decoy plays. Yeah.
But the thing is, while they're still the pick is still so asinine in my opinion. But if you noticed in the 2 or 3 plays he saw the field last week, they actually worked a little bit.
They did. Yeah, it was 2 plays, 2 positive.
He had the fake.
Both of them. They worked. They absolutely worked.
He had the pump fake, turnaround, pump fake, hit Goddard, and then that got for a first down. And then I think it was either another pump fake to Hurts or whatever, turn around. Like, why not do more of that? Like, yeah. I think Rob said it 2 weeks ago on the preview show, and he was like, what happened to not just the screen game, like a slip screen, but what happened to fake one way, hit the tight end on the other side real quick? Like, why not use that kind of misdirection, especially when you get inside the red zone or the 25?
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Nathan Woolridge says Nate Gary is not good. He should not even be in the NFL, brother. We need to feed Miles Sanders. When we were talking about the keys to the Eagles offense, that was the thing we harped on over and over and over again. Pound the rock, Doug. Miles Sanders over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns today. This is it. And D-Jax needs more catches and yards. I say D-Jax has over 10 catches, 100-plus yards today. Wow. And let's go into the stars of the game on offense. Go ahead, Dylan.
Star of the game on offense, Miles Sanders. I mean, obviously the key to the offense is how Carson Wentz plays today, but the star of the game statistically is going to be Miles Sanders. I think you see Miles Sanders get over 20 touches. I don't know if he's going to get 20 rushes again, even though he should, because Doug should be pounding the ball 25, 30 times. But at least over 20 touches because his pass catching ability. Definitely over 100 all-purpose yards. I'd say maybe even over 150 all-purpose yards and at least 1 touchdown.
Yes, sir. What about you, Brian? Top stars of the game on offense.
Well, I'll say Carson Wentz. I say he settles down just a little bit. I think you can't just change dramatically from week 2 to week 3, but I think he'll settle down just a little bit and enough to be a little bit more sharp and throw a couple of touchdowns and we'll see. I don't know. It could go either way, but that kind of leads to my next question, and I'll wait till after a few years.
All right, cool. My star of the game on offense is Dallas Goedert. The Bengals have been pretty average versus 2 tight end sets. They're like right in that mid-range since 2019. 5.6 yards per play, 18th among all defenses. So with Jalen Reagor out, I think Wentz is going to lean on Ertz and Goddard heavily today. We know the Eagles run more 2 tight end sets than anyone else by far. I think it's actually going to be even more today. So that is my star of the game on offense. Star of the game on defense, I'm going Fletcher Cox. This guy's a stud. At least he used to be. You said he's active today, Dylan. But this guy has 1 tackle for loss on the season. So he's not doing his job, which is to get to the quarterback and lead the defense. Go ahead. What?
Not to cut you off, but you got to love Nathan's optimism. Everyone's over 100 yards today. Miles Sanders 150, D-Jax over 100.
You get 100 yards. You get 100 yards. Everybody gets 100 yards. Fletcher Cox, man. He's going up today against one of the least experienced guard combos in the NFL. I think today is the day we see Fletcher Cox unleashed versus a terrible Bengals O-line. Because if he does, if Fletcher Cox doesn't show up today, I went off on Fletcher Cox during the preview show last Tuesday night. We need him to show his face because he ain't doing a damn thing right now. Star on defense, Dylan.
I'm going with the Robin to his Batman. I'm going Javon Hargrave. He came. I think you saw the rust from not participating all offseason, not playing week 1, didn't even travel week 1, I don't think. And then all of a sudden, he was supposed to miss multiple weeks. And then all of a sudden, after week 1, he was limited in practice. And then bang, full participant. He's back right away. Javon Hargrave, Howie gave him the money to be one of the highest paid nose tackles in the National Football League. When you're next to guys like Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson and Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett, this defensive line is deep. They need to show up today as a whole. But to me, and I'm not sitting here saying Javon Hargrave is going to be in Joe Burrow's face all day, but he's going to be a big component of keeping them one-dimensional because he's a great run stopper in the middle of that defensive line. So if he wraps up Joe Mixon a couple times at the line of scrimmage, if he gets in the backfield a couple times, then that just makes if he plays well, that makes life easier for Fletcher Cox, to go to your point, Dives.
Brian, you said Nate Gary. I give you one more chance? Are you sure you want to stick to Nate Gary for the defense?
Yeah, I think he plays a little bit better this week. I think obviously he's going to have the pressure on him as well. But I think that's going to there's 2 different pressures. There's the good pressure and there's bad. And I think for where you got to correct your mistakes, and to me that's good. You're trying to learn. Where Carson Wentz, that's all in his head. But yeah, I go with Nathan Gary. I think that he gets an interception, maybe a couple sacks today. That's my guess.
Woo!
Yeah.
Love it. Randy Brown says the local station isn't playing the game. I have not turned on my TV at all today, so it gives me. I'm out in Lancaster. What about you, Dylan? Any info on this?
No, I'm right over the bridge in Jersey, so I'm assuming the game's on my phone. I would try to help him, but I don't know where he's. Like, he might not be in the area. He might be
right.
An Eagles fan.
If he's where I'm at, it's not on TV. Like, I gotta listen to it on the radio, so it's on the WIP. So
Nathan says Juan Hargrave is not as good as he should be. Let's go into game predictions.
The only other thing you can do, Dives, is Sunday ticket. I don't know if you want to pay for that, but that's an option.
All right, you guys ready to do game predictions and we'll wrap it up?
Yes, sir.
yeah, I do have a question on top of with Carson Wentz. If he doesn't do well today,
Don't say it. Don't say it.
What can you expect?
What?
No, I was gonna say if he doesn't do well, what can you guys expect after this week? Do you expect?
I was just messing with you, but
no, go ahead. Okay.
If he doesn't play well this week, obviously it's going to be concerning, especially against this Bengals defense. But no, like unless this continues for like 6 or 7 weeks and he continues to look like shit, like not just Eagles losing, but he looks lost and continues to throw interceptions and continues to not get rid of the ball and miss easy throws, then I mean, at a certain point, you have to, make a change.
But do you think 6 or 7 weeks is too long to prove it? No, okay.
No, because Jalen Hurts to me isn't saving your season. So if Carson doesn't play well today, bringing in Jalen Hurts next week isn't going to turn the ship around and the Eagles get to somewhere. So it's either Carson Wentz fixes it in 6 or 7 weeks, and if he doesn't, I don't know what you do. I still won't even do it then. I'm just telling you at that point it's the conversation. But week 3 now.
Like, do you want to see Jalen Hurts play and just see how, like, hey, you know what? Let's see what he does. Let's see. I mean, we're going to have Wentz as our starter each week, but let's see. Let's say it's the first half and the Eagles are down by 20-some points. Let's start Hurts. Let's see how he can do.
I don't, only because of the perception around the pick, and we're sitting here talking about Carson's head, Carson's mental state, with having that. As soon as you make that move, it might be over. Like,
right.
I'm not saying it happens in 6 or 7 weeks. I'm saying, if he plays like shit for 6 or 7 weeks and they're 1-6 or whatever, then maybe. But as soon as you make that switch to go to Jalen Hurts, I don't think there's any coming back from it, especially with a percentage of this fan base for whatever reason. Like, can someone answer this if you're watching it, comment, or one of you guys tell me, how can you be a fan in this city, an Eagles fan, and openly root for this dude to not play well? There's a large percentage of people, there's too large of a percentage of people that love when he doesn't play good.
It's the worst kind of fan. What are worst kind of fan? No, you're absolutely right. That has been around since the Nick Foles versus Carson Wentz debagle. Even though Nick Foles can't even play.
By the way, you can argue. Anyone can argue with me if you want to. It's not a debate. It's not a discussion.
No, man. My Carson Wentz will be the quarterback of this football team until the Eagles are eliminated from the playoffs. That's how I see this, unfolding throughout. Even if, that being said, if Carson Wentz is clearly making the team worse, he's making the wrong reads, he's missing guys in the end zone still.
Right. For multiple
down receivers. Yeah, it's got to be, probably week 9 or 10 at the earliest. And that's when the Eagles are clearly not – oh, sorry, Eagles pumpkin. When the Eagles are clearly not in the playoff race, the season is over. That only then and only then is when we're going to see Jalen Hurts, because they're not going to do that now. That Jalen Hurts pick was meant for 2-3 years from now, not this year. And the second that you bench Carson Wentz, you just lost all of your trade assets for that guy. Let's go into game predictions and wrap it up. It's just I'll lead us off, I guess. You can't lose to a team that hasn't had a winning record since 2015. That if the Eagles lose this game, they have 8 combined wins the last 2 seasons. The Bengals have 8 combined wins the last 2 seasons. If you lose to the Bengals today, not only is the season over, but now you're starting the conversation of the Eagles being among the worst teams in the NFL, and heads will fucking roll if that happens. So even if the Bengals are a bad football team, my gut feeling has not been swayed since our Week 3 preview last Tuesday night. The Eagles' offense and defense has not been able to click together. And until I believe Doug and Howie and Schwartz can learn from their mistakes and adjust, and that's when I'll start having hope in this team again. The bad news, I see this game as a nail-biter still. I think this one is going to come down to the last 5 minutes. Carson Wentz is going to drive down the field, give them a W. The good news, Zach Taylor is 0-10 in one-score games. I'm going with the Eagles 26, the Bengals 24, and this game is going to be not comfortable at all. This is going to be just a shit fest of Eagles fans on Twitter waiting to just jump all over Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson. I'm very concerned about this game, even though everything falls in line for Miles Sanders in the offensive line. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that that's raw.
Our host is down.
Did you lose me?
Yeah. You back? Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, you're up. Sorry, man. 26-24 Eagles win.
26-24. Okay. I can't have it that close. My heart can't handle that again. So my final thoughts and game predictions. Don't forget that the game can end in a tie against the Bengals. So look, I said it last week because I'm never this person, but I said that last week was a must win, and they lost. And the Cowboys are 1-1. So obviously, you can still turn things around. This game right here, if I said that last week, this game is the definition of a must-win. If it wasn't true last week, oh, believe me, it's true this week. Because if the Philadelphia Eagles lose today, not just who they lose to, not just how they look, the fact that you're 0-3 in these first 3 games that we were saying has to be 3-0 or 2-1 at least, and then you go into this tough schedule, the season is over. Pack your bags, pack it up. It's over if they go 0-3 to start. With that being said, this to me is the perfect get right game. We have a special guest appearance.
Go Birds, baby.
With that being said, it is the perfect get right game in every aspect of the sense. For Doug Peterson, for this offense, for Carson Wentz mentally and his play, for this defense not to 27 points against Washington, even though you can't fully blame them because of field position, and then 37 points against the Rams. In every sense of the way, this is the perfect get back on track, turn the season around, get some momentum and confidence back, and let's get our shit together. So, on the football, Doug, I said it all week. Dives, you can attest to this. I don't need to see, nor do I want to see. I've said the same words over and over again. Carson Wentz dropping back, throwing the football over 40 times. If that is the case, once again, it is not going to be a good thing in the final outcome for the Eagles today. Balanced attack, Doug. This team cannot stop the run. Pound the ball down their damn throats until they stop it. Get Carson out of the pocket. To maximize what he does best and let him pick his spots downfield when he wants to. And that's how you win this game. It's to me, Dives. I obviously the Eagles fan in me knows how this game is probably going to go and how and there's the history of it. Like you said, it's going to be close to the wire when it shouldn't be. I need to see a convincing win today, from start to finish on both sides of the ball. So I'm going to say Eagles 31, Bengals 20.
Ooh.
31-20 for Dylan. Nathan says, my prediction, Eagles win 41-38 and win by a field goal. I don't think that's crazy at all. I think you're right on it. Brian, you're up. Game prediction.
Yeah, sir. With defense, Nate Gary, obviously, I think he's going to turn the ball over. Defense turns the ball over today. They do well. Offense, they they do better. I'm not gonna, I think Carson Wentz will still make mistakes. And I don't think he's going to be the difference maker today, but I think he does a little bit better. And my prediction is the Eagles 28-24.
28-24. I love it. This guy's optimism is unrivaled, man. Carson Wentz over 800 yards today. Let's go. Before Bugs, my last thought here is heart. Eagles, where's your heart? Brian Dawkins, I want that guy on the sideline. Today is about heart. We need to find the Eagles, need to find their heart again on offense, on defense. We're going to know it within the first 10 minutes. That's what I want to see. I want to see this team playing with some fucking, heart and guts today. And at least look like you're trying to play today. 191 yards giving up on the ground last week to the Rams. Like, that's not Eagles football. Let's get back to Eagles football. Let's get to the quarterback. Let's stop the run. Let's create some turnovers. Dylan, plug and any final thoughts?
Spitball with me and Mike Small. Hopefully the Phillies somehow have a chance to make the playoffs today for anyone that still cares about this team after the atrocity that September has been for them. But so spitballing on Wednesdays with me and Mike Small, and then the Faithful Fanatics podcast on Thursday nights. And then also our preview show on Tuesday at 8. Final thoughts. I want to see, you said heart. Obviously, I need to see heart today. You're going to find out exactly what this team is about this week with their backs against the wall. I said it before. It shouldn't take your back against the wall to show up. But historically, under Doug Peterson, this is when this team plays its best football. So guess what, Doug? You got your wish. Your back's against the wall early in the season. But I want to see something I'm not sure we've seen, and that's a pissed off Carson Wentz. Like an angry, motivated Carson Wentz. This is my job. This is my team. I don't care who's behind me. I'm not fully on board that the Jalen Hurts itself pick is in his head. I think there's a lot of shit in his head right now. But just put all that aside. Make everyone shut the hell up. Show them it's your team. Show them that you can lead this team back to the postseason.
That's funny. So I was just thinking, I'm sorry. I was thinking that the remaining games of the season, all the teams that they play, and then the good teams that are coming up, they're playing 49ers, I believe, next week. They're not great this year, but still, I can still see them lose to the 49ers. That's just how bad the Eagles are. But yeah, the teams that they play this year, they're going to have heart this week, and then it's just going to be shattered next week, I think. Or if they win next week, it's just going to be shattered after that. You got to see the teams that they're playing and how well they're playing. But yeah, just mine is the Joe Show on YouTube. So stop by later on. I'll be on. But yeah, I think it starts with the Eagles. Like you said, the run game. And obviously Nate Gary and the linebackers. They need to put pressure. They need to blitz more in this game, and I think that's really the keys to the game, other than Carson Wentz.
Awesome. So make sure you check out our post-game show right when the Eagles versus Bengal game ends. We'll be on with our post-game show. Lock it down at the Painted Lines YouTube channel. For Dylan, for Brian, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Go Birds!
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get it!